Welcome to Oscar Sunday. I'm Austin Johnson.
I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
And today we're here to celebrate Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, which is hitting its 20th anniversary this summer. Pretty crazy. We were going to have Fake True Stories co-host Isabel on the show. Unfortunately, she could not make it, but hopefully we'll get her out to an Oscar Sunday one day. But regardless, this is a great movie. Going to be a ton of fun.
Yeah, it's a blast. It's a childhood favorite. I've loved this franchise, at least the first three, my whole life. It's an epic, fun pirate tale. There's not enough pirate movies out there. Probably because the bar's been set pretty damn high by these. And I think this is the movie that really like catapulted Johnny Depp to like superstardom. I mean, he was a name, but then Jack Sparrow made him, a global star.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. I'm with you. Love these movies. First three again. Curse of the Black Pearl, 2003, Dead Man's Chest, 2006, and World's End, 2007. So they, based these movies on a fucking theme park ride. So
Yeah.
pretty crazy that it's all these characters are like for the most part original or in obviously Davy Jones like in the second one's inspired by you know bunch of different like tales and stuff, but yeah, I mean like Jack Sparrow is obviously based on a lot of stereotypes, like the drinking of the rum and all that stuff, and being kind of really witty and kind of dumb but smart at the same time, those kind of things, like very stereotypical pirate stuff. But there's a lot of like original work here and original dialogue, and I love that.
Well, I like how they took kind of, the pirate, you know, like you said, the stereotypes and the mythology, and crafted a pretty original, creative story out of this. This was like before the movie, the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disney World was like, you know, a pirate skeleton, yo ho, and then like some gold and a boat. That's it. Like there's not a story there. Like
Yeah,
they built this from scratch for the most part, and then incorporating Davy Jones and the Kraken and the Sea Goddess and the pirate like court and all that just made this even cooler.
yeah, completely brought it to life, and not only brought it to life, but it was like extremely successful. The first movie made around $700 million at the box office, and then the second one crossed the billion threshold. And it was like, oh, okay, this is like a really, really profitable franchise. Regrettably, the second two, I want to say the fourth one came out in 2011 and the fifth one came out in 2017. I just don't care for either of them like at all. They're both kind of bad in my opinion. I haven't seen them since they came out, so maybe I need to give it another whirl. But compared to the first three, and for me specifically the first two, it's just no contest at all. I mean, Curse the Black Pearl and Dead Man's Chest are two of like my favorite adventure movies of all time.
Oh, I'm with you, man. And with 4 and 5, every few years I do have that thought of like, was I too harsh? Did I miss
Yeah,
something? And then I try to
yeah.
watch them again, and I'm like, no, I was right. These are shit.
I literally haven't seen them since theaters, both of them. So it's been 12 years since number four and 6 years since number five.
Well, I'm bummed out that we got a movie where Ian McShane plays Blackbeard, and we got a movie where Javier Bardem plays a pirate ghost, and they're not great. What a waste. Ah,
Yeah, where the the first three movies nail the villains like just so well. Jeffrey Rush and Bill Nighy playing Davy Jones. Like they're such incredible actors and incredible performances, and they're written so well. The whole Barbosa storyline is so sick. And the Davy Jones, man, when I was like 11 when the second movie came out and saw it in theaters, I was just like, this is like the coolest and scariest villain in one of these movies that I'm allowed to watch in theaters, that I had ever seen. It was so cool. And for me, like a lot of people who were born probably in 1970, they grew up and Indiana Jones was their thing, right? Or Star Wars or whatever. Like this is mine. Pirates of the Caribbean. These movies at age 8, 11, and 12, these are my world as far as adventure movies go.
I did grow up with Indiana Jones and Star Wars, because I had them on tape. but Pirates was also like my first big screen adventure
Yeah,
series.
yeah,
And I was, watching them this past week. One thing I was really more enamored with than ever before was how beautiful the CGI still looks.
yes,
Like, I can't believe that movie, especially Dead Man's Chest. That movie came out in 2006. There's movies that came out last year that don't look that good. And
yeah,
I don't know what they did, but it's amazing. Especially Jones himself looks like such a real character. Just the performance and the mocap, it all works together to make a truly perfect CGI character that looks like he's standing right there for real.
yeah. Do you fear death? Yeah, yeah. It's such a sick fucking character, dude. Yeah, man. I remember the first time I saw Black Pearl. I didn't see Black Pearl in theaters. So my I remember my mom, my dad, and my oldest brother, Adam, they all went to see it in theaters. Because Adam Adam's he's like 4, almost 5 years older than me. And so at the time he was like, whatever, 13, I guess, when it came out, or 12 or 13. And they took him and he came home and was like, "Oh my god, it's the best movie ever." Like he had that kind of attitude, and I was like, "Well, I want to see it." And then I remember we rented it at Blockbuster. Shout out to Blockbuster, rest in peace. We rented it and like watched it as a whole family. Like we all got to pick out one snack, like a candy. We all got a soda, and I was fucking 8 years old. I still remember this in the living room that we lived in, the house we lived in when I was growing up, and I still remember my reaction, to that initial attack on Port Royal by Barbossa and his crew. That initial attack when you see Will Turner throw the axe at that one guy, and then you see him again, and you're like, wait, that guy should be dead, and you start putting the pieces together as a kid, like, oh, they're like the undead, and that stuff is just so vital to figuring out storytelling as a child, and it kind of creates who you are and how you receive things. So this played like a huge role in my life, as just kind of, oh, this is what's new, this is what I like, this is the popular kind of stuff, IP, franchise stuff that I dig as a child. I'm with you. I watched Indiana Jones as a really young age, but I knew it was an old movie. For Pirates to be like new and something I could talk to like my friends at school about was such a cool experience, and I'll never take that for granted. I'll always appreciate that.
That's awesome, man. I love that. I love the personal connection you've got to this. Uh, I'm surprised Disney was willing to go as dark as they did with these movies and
Yeah,
then never touched that kind of dark again. Like outside of Star Wars and Marvel, and they'll go there from time to time. And like in stuff that has Walt Disney Pictures on it, they've never gone this hard again.
yeah, yeah. I watched, of course, Curse of the Black Pearl, because that's the movie we're going to be giving awards out to, and it was up for five Oscars at the 76th Academy Awards. We'll get into all that stuff a little later, but I watched Dead Man's Chest the next night, last night, and I forgot at the beginning of the movie, before we see Johnny Depp shoot the bird out of the coffin, which is like such a funny introduction to him. Before that, you're seeing a guy like getting dragged to like be murdered, and he's being dragged and there's blood all over his feet. It's like in the first 5 minutes of the movie, and you're like, oh my god, like this is brutal, and he's screaming like he's about to go into the depths of hell. And I mean, it's a PG-13 rating, so obviously you're allowed to do some stuff like that, but it gets darker and darker, Dead Man's Chest, as it goes, when you get introduced to Davy Jones and his crew and what they're all about, and that they're all on like a contract, is pretty brutal. It's pretty crazy to kind of digest that as a kid. I was always just enamored by it, though. Like I always had like a fascination with just kind of the lore of these movies.
When it comes to horrifying sequences, nothing beats the scene in At World's End where Jones kills Beckett's right hand man with his fucking squid face and just like chokes the guy.
Yeah,
Like with his squid tentacles like going into his eyes and his nose and shit. I'm like, kids are watching this. Like, this is a ride at Disney World. Holy shit! There's few horror movies with kill scenes that gruesome.
Yeah, he's just I don't know. He's kind of like a Voldemort, just kind of just destroy, seek and destroy, and I don't know. It's amazing how fascinated you are as a kid by those characters, but also as an adult. It translates so well to like my viewing now. I still love these movies. Like I still give the first two a 9 and the third one an 8. These are good fucking movies.
As soon as we're done here, I'm popping in at World's End. Like I've been waiting for that all day.
Yeah, I might do the same. I might wait till tomorrow, just because it's a little late here on Saturday night as we record. But who knows? Maybe I'll catch a second wind and go. But I'm going to finish the trilogy now. I should be watching stuff for the Oscars next month, but like fuck it. I like going to this world, man. I like being in Port Royal. I like being in Tortuga, all these different places. Have you been on that ride before?
I've never been to Disney World or Disneyland.
Okay, so they have the ride at both places. I went on the ride when I was 5 at Disney World. I don't remember it at all. But then I went to Disneyland when I was 12, and I vividly remember because at that time I had seen all 3 movies. You know what I mean? I knew like I was amped up for it. My dad kept saying, "This is what inspired like those movies that you love so much," and I was like, "Wow, this is crazy." Like I'm seeing the source material, and it has really nothing to do with how awesome the movies are.
I can, however, say I have been to Port Royal, Jamaica.
Oh, there you go. That's great.
Yeah, that was cool. We were driving past it. I was like 11, 12 years old. My mom's like, hey, that's the place from Pirates. And I'm like, what? I looked around and I'm like, oh, cool. I'm in Pirates.
Yeah, I'm in Pirates. Yeah. Did you? So this is a special time. This is something I want to kind of talk about before we get into our awards and really break down the movie. So 2003, to be so lucky as a child to have this movie and Lord of the Rings finishing that year in the same year. It's like passing of the torch from one franchise to the next. I mean, do you recall just kind of how awesome that was as an 8-year-old? You're like, I mean, I'm in heaven.
I can't, you know, I don't really remember my first times with Lord of the Rings. I think I know I saw Return of the King in theaters because my parents took me on Christmas Day, and the whole family got pissed that my parents ducked out on Christmas Day to go see a movie. I remember that, but the movie itself, I'm 8 years old, 3.5 hours long. I don't have that kind of attention span at that age. I was probably like, just like looking around. But when we got them, yeah, I was probably like, this is long. I'm out of popcorn. But
yeah, nachos. Yeah.
But when I found them on my own, we had the DVDs, and I would watch Fellowship whenever I was over my aunt's house and they were doing shit, and I was like up in the bedroom watching Fellowship because that was like the one movie they had that I liked. So I just kept watching that over and over again, and then from there I was like Two Towers, Return of the King, and that became something I appreciated. But in the year itself, I think I was way more Pirates than Lord of the Rings. It took some time for me to kind of adapt that to my own likes.
Yeah, I certainly was as well. It was definitely a huge pirate. They're not that hard to follow, the Pirates movies. And even like the little nuances that you notice now as an adult. That's like part of the genius of Gore Verbinski and what's going on here with these movies is if you're an adult, it rewards you with those nuances. If you're a kid, you don't really need them to catch on. At the end of the day, like the best example I can think of is in Dead Man's Chest when Will Turner is talking to Lord Beckett towards the beginning of the movie and they're making the deal about the compass. All you really need to hear as a kid is get the compass and we have a deal. All the dialogue before is kind of for people who are older that are, sitting through the movie to kind of have, oh, look at this. It's kind of this highbrow conversation. But as a kid, you're like, cool, that guy needs the compass from that guy, and that guy's going to try to go get it from that cool Jack Sparrow guy. That's all I need to know.
But as an adult, like I love the line, the world is changing, the blank edges of the map filled in. It's like as a history buff, I'm like, yeah, there's so much less to discover now because we've conquered everything. And this is the age of monsters is coming to an end. The fairy tales are dying. And that's kind of what this movie represents. But as a kid, you're just like, Squid Man's cool. And
Yeah,
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 it's for everybody.
exactly. And I'm totally cool with that. I kind of like that about it, that it's going to reach generations forever because of that kind of accessibility to it. And these movies are on Disney Plus right now, so they're going to be probably forever as long as Disney Plus is around, and I'm sure that will be for a very long time. So that's cool. They're right there. We own, I think we own all three, the first ones, I think. But I don't know. The convenience of a streaming service is quite nice.
Yeah, I've got the first three. I'm good there. I don't plan on buying 4 and 5. We've got those on the potential list for Beyond the Bad because we all know where to draw the line with pirates.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we could do all three on Oscar Sunday, right? The first
We
three.
can. Yeah, they were all
Yeah.
up for visual effects and I think some production design possibly.
Yeah, we can and we will. Yeah, one cool thing about this being on Oscar Sunday is it is, some quote unquote technical awards, but you do have the very rare franchise movie nomination Best Actor for Johnny Depp, which is very special. I wish that happened more often when guys are clearly just having fun, just going for it. And I can think of so many other people that deserve a spot the way he deserves a spot for his performance in the movie. Why don't we do that more often? If he's up, then why isn't Viggo Mortensen up for Lord of the Rings? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. In this franchise alone, Jeffrey Rush and Bill Nighy both should have been up for supporting actor.
Yeah, and Bill Nighy just got his first nomination now, currently, for what's it called, Living, right?
Yeah.
So that's crazy. I didn't realize he had no nominations prior to that. He's absolutely crushing it in Dead Man's Chest. So I wish there was more.
And this year we also have another franchise acting nomination in Angela Bassett for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. So, yeah,
I'll take that. I'll take that to the bank. Totally cool with that. If Angela Bassett can be up, then why wasn't who from Marvel is? Who really? I'm trying to think of who really stands out. A lot of them do. I'm just struggling. That's funny. I would say for me, Spider-Man, the first movie, 2002, Willem Dafoe, Best Supporting Actor. That's something I would have gone for.
I watched No Way Home on the flight, and I was thinking that the whole time. Like, Jesus, he's going hard for this. Like, he should have gotten some love.
Oh yeah, Willem Dafoe could have had 2 nominations for playing the same character. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah,
I
wish the Academy recognized franchises more often in that way.
You got Heath Ledger he got the win for Batman. That's a win. We'll take that.
Do you consider Joaquin Phoenix's win for Joker a franchise win?
I guess, but I mean, it's going for something totally different and just clearly an ode to certain movies and certain Scorsese works. It doesn't really feel like a DC movie much at all.
Fair enough. Ian McKellen got that nom for Gandalf for Fellowship.
Yes, I love that. I think Lord of the Rings should have got like a lot of performance nominations.
It really, yeah, you're totally right there. And I can't really think of any others. It does not happen a lot. Oh, Alec Guinness for Star Wars. There's one.
I was about to say, what Star Wars stuff happened? They're not known for like great performances, especially like Mark Hamill's not really putting in a shift, as Luke. But some people are doing really good work in those.
Yeah, I don't know about that. They're reading weird ass dialogue. Frankly, I don't really agree with the Alec Guinness nomination. He was just too good for this movie, so they gave him something.
That's fair. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of the recent ones. Not really. Everybody's fine. No one's like amazing. Like Adam Driver and those kind of guys and the new ones.
Well, I always have my own theory that in all 3 trilogies of Star Wars, there's one actor who becomes a star by propelling themselves out of Star Wars. In the original trilogy, it was Harrison Ford. In the prequel trilogy, it was Natalie Portman. And in the sequel trilogy, it's Adam Driver.
Like,
Everyone else is kind of left in the lurch or are forever associated with Star Wars.
I like that. You think Ewan McGregor was able to forge his own path?
I don't, because he just played Obi-Wan Kenobi again and
Yeah,
has been Obi-Wan Kenobi since 1999. Just
he
like
came
Mark
back.
Hamill has been Luke Skywalker since 1977.
Yeah, I always associate Mark. The first thing I think of Mark Hamill is Joker, for sure. I mean, I know most people are going to go to Star Wars for his live action, acting. But if you want to call it acting, I don't know.
Damn, shots fired. But
yeah, he's pretty bad.
Yeah, but he's fucking fantastic as the Joker.
Yes, I agree.
But that's just something I noticed with Star Wars. Like we get, one person gets to get out, everyone else stays.
Yeah. Whereas Pirates has casted, even at the time, you cast Ian McShane, you cast Bill Nighy, you cast Javier Bardem. These guys are respected, before they take these roles on. So it's just good casting. Just I guess the writing just lost its spark.
Well, I think something about the absence of Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley just didn't feel right. Jack became a little too goofy, and it's Gore Verbinski's direction also, really made these three work.
So he does the first three. The other two are, I don't even know who directed the other two.
I want to say 4 is somebody I know. 5 was a known guy, I think. Let me look that up.
Yeah, go ahead. I have no problem with that because Gore Verbinski's the man. He clearly was doing these movies so that he could do Rango in 2011.
I thought so. On Stranger Tides was Rob Marshall.
Yeah, not a huge fan. That's not surprising.
And Dead Men Tell No Tales was Joachim Ronning and Espen Sandberg.
Okay.
Yeah, what about, that was a work for hire.
So Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio, those are the guys that are kind of credited with really fleshing out the characters and whatnot. I wonder if they also wrote those movies, 4 and 5.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say no.
Yeah.
Now Jeff Nathanson wrote Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Yep.
And On Stranger Tides was written by. Oh no, Elliott and Rossio did write that one.
Okay, interesting. They came back for the last one. It's like I had gone too far. They couldn't reel it back.
No. Well, and 1, 2, 3 are such a complete story. Everyone's arc is finished off with At World's End. It ends in a good final place for everyone. And there is no need to go further. It just feels like a shameless cash grab, which it was.
Yeah, let's call it like it is, right? Call a spade a spade. It is for money. We can have the conversation about why'd they do this, why'd they do that. They just want to make some cash, make some money for the studio, and so they can make other things.
The same reason there's a Haunted Mansion movie, a Tomorrowland movie, and a Jungle Cruise movie, because Pirates, the movie based off a ride, worked so well they thought everything else would work too. I'm waiting for the Epcot movie.
Yeah, Epcot, directed by Terrence Malick.
Oh my god!
It's just in one place, one sphere. Jesus Christ. Oh man, Gore Verbinski, man. Oscar nominated Gore Verbinski. So cool. Rango's, me. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Probably my favorite movie from 2011. And I feel like he did all of this work with the Pirates movie so that he could make his dream movie, which is Rango. And he got to bring back Johnny Depp and a bunch of amazing actors to be a part of the voice cast for that movie. And we covered it here a long time ago on Oscar Sunday, and that was a blast. So I've always had a kind of an adoration for Gore. I think he's been quite important to my life.
Clearly, yeah. I remember Rango was a very passionate episode. That was a good time.
Yeah, it's just so good. It's just the best. What else? There's something else I like that he's done. I'm trying to remember because I didn't like The Lone Ranger at all. I like The Ring, from 2002. I like The Ring. It's all right.
I forgot he did The Ring. Yeah, it's been a minute since I saw that.
Yeah, other than that, it's just some stuff.
He did Mouse Hunt. Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, you love Mouse Hunt. Yeah. The Mexican, 2001. The Weatherman, 2005. Of course, he has to work with Cage. That's in between the Pirates movies, and then then Rango, Lone Ranger, A Cure for Wellness. I'd love to see him, come back to the spotlight again and do something special.
Yeah, it'd be cool if him and Johnny Depp did some independent thing that was highly successful and kind of pissed Disney off.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. There's a clear chemistry between those two. I don't know. Like, I'm not a crazy big Johnny Depp fan, and obviously, it's been controversy in his life for a few years now. But I do love a lot of the movies he's been in, a lot of movies that he's worked on. And of course, as a kid, my favorite was Jack Sparrow, Captain Jack Sparrow, savvy. You know, I used to me and my cousin used to say that all the time. We'd like anything, like we'd be like having a pillow fight at fucking 8, 9 years old, and he would like hold the pillow and look at me and be like, savvy, just being fucking stupid. But I still say it now because I'm still stupid and still just dumb and full of wonder.
There was a time, I think like around middle school, where if somebody asked me who's your favorite actor, without question, I'd say Johnny Depp. There was a time.
When you were younger, like how old? What'd you say?
Like 12, 13.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. So at that time, you like what would you have been attached to at that time? Obviously Pirates. Sweeney Todd?
Yeah.
Came out in 07. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big one. I really liked Sweeney Todd like immediately.
Mm-hmm.
What else? At that
like
time,
had you seen like some of his like kind of stranger stuff at that time?
I love Sleepy Hollow.
Okay, there you go.
I had seen Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I didn't quite get it, but I really liked Depp in it.
Yeah.
I'd seen Elm Street at that point.
There you go. Yeah, young Depp.
Yeah, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, like 2004 was that one? Yeah,
that was 05.
05. Okay.
And really just, Pirates was the kind of the nexus of that love. And I grew up, and then I don't really have an easy answer to that question anymore. But yeah, it's funny, when you look back and just, the few films you did have were, they were yours. You held on to those. Now it's like the numbers are in the thousands, and I've still got my, my core few, but I have so many different things to bring into the conversation now.
Yeah. Oh man, I don't know. Favorite actor. And it's so hard to now break down like eras of movies, right? You're like, oh, what about, like pre Hays Code era or post or modern cinema, there's all these different eras of movie making and different kinds of styles of performances. I mean, I know you're like a huge Charlie Chaplin guy, but it's hard to compare him to like a Robert De Niro,
Yeah. Like today, is it Michael Fassbender or is it Jimmy Stewart or is it Nicolas Cage or is it Christopher Walken? Am I going character actor? Am I going leading man? What am I talking about?
Yeah. I think like gun to my head, I think I'd probably go with Philip Seymour Hoffman. That's probably my like, gun to head answer. Him and like Willem Dafoe has always been right up there, I mean, I don't know though, I mean, like I'll just be unoriginal, like Daniel Day-Lewis. I just love watching him, and we've fallen in love with guys like Jimmy Stewart, who you named, Burt Lancaster. These guys have been important to us since we've really started doing the podcasting stuff. But Johnny Depp is one of those guys. He's kind of like Nirvana. At some point in your life, you probably were obsessed.
That's fucking great. I love that. Yeah, because he's like, he's equal parts character actor and movie star, indie success and commercial success. He's Jello. Everybody loves it, or at least they did.
Yeah, some people not so much anymore, but I still remember his movies fondly. That's
I never lost faith.
That's never going away. So, I mean, Rango like certainly is in the running for just like one of my 30 or 40 favorite movies ever. So that's a big deal. When you're like the front poster child of that said movie, you're going to be someone I respect, as a performer.
And I'm still a fan. I'm not like, huge. Like, I'm not really ride or die with his films, but I am. I do consider myself a fan. I was rooting for him when he was, fighting his crazy bitch of an ex-wife in court. I was happy when he won, and I hope he gets to get back on track. I think he deserves another shot.
Yeah, him and Gore Verbinski, baby. Come on, let's go. That's good stuff, man. Yeah, I love that. We've never really, I really brought that up. Just like your favorite, not like best or whatever, but you're just your favorite performers. I mean, we both. I think one of the first things we connected on was Philip Seymour Hoffman. So, we named our performance award after him. We both just have had I don't know, just a sincere desire to get to know him as an actor more and more, and rewatch his movies. And I don't know, it's really sad that we're coming up on 9 years that he's been gone. It's just fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's a bummer. We lost. I've said it before. The greatest character actor of all time. He it was just the slightest shift, and you believed it. His weight didn't fluctuate. His voice didn't fluctuate. You just bought it every time because of the sheer fucking commitment that he brought every single time. I remember when I first approached you about the podcast, we did a little experiment where wrote down like the best who we thought were like considered the greatest actors of all time. We'd do like random selections, and we'd talk about the films that they'd done that we'd seen. We had seen so little at that point. We conjured up what we could. I remember we landed on Burt Lancaster, and we had nothing to talk about because we hadn't seen any of his shit. And we're both like, "Oh, he sounds cool. I'd love to check that out." And here we are, fucking, we've done the homework now. It'd be funny to do that again and see like the conversation we can build now.
Yeah, I like that. I remember doing that. That was cool, man. That was some of the beginning stages of us just figuring each other out, and like how we talk and what our kind of personalities are while recording. I remember that. I think we just called it. I don't know what we called it, or
it was just I have it just actor. Yeah, actors is what I've got it on the audio. I still have those files.
I remember. I don't know. Like I remember it being called like just talking, like no G talking actors. Yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. We should do that again just for fun, like one day. Like for this upcoming Best Picture Showdown, I have like a really cool thing planned because it's going to be on an actual Oscar Sunday, and I can't wait. So we're like not doing an individual movie, but I can't wait. I love when we do stuff like that. That's just completely, just kind of bullshitting off the dome, just talking about stuff, and I'm super stoked for that because we haven't done it in a while. Where we're just kind of just riffing, on stuff, and talking actors would be cool to bring back one day.
We'd have so many new people to add to the list from people we've just discovered, through, looking at foreign film and looking back, an older film. Like we definitely got a much deeper appreciation of the craft, and I'm glad we have that.
Yeah, we definitely have to find like a more official way of randomizing it to surprise ourselves. Because I think when we were doing that, we just had like a list of like 50 people, and we just like kind of like, there, let's stop there.
Yeah.
So cool. Now we need like a spin the wheel type thing where both at like live while we're recording, we can be like, okay, this is who we're talking about right now. Yeah. I mean, I remember. Now it's flooding back to me. I remember we brought up Al Pacino, and like both of us had like gaping holes of Al Pacino movies. Like I'd be like, have you seen this one? And you're like, no. And you're like, have you seen this one? And I'm like, no. Like we just were on opposite ends of the spectrum. Like, I was like, Serpico's sick, and you're like, oh, I haven't seen that one. And you're, bringing up other ones. Donnie Brasco, and I'm like, oh, I haven't seen that. It just that's how it went.
Yeah. And then I think we were both inspired to be like, well, I want to see what he's talking about. And we went and did the homework, and here we are.
Yeah, that's kind of the whole deal, right? Is doing that homework, and you get to a better place of a conversation.
It is my ultimate goal with all of this to never have to say the phrase, no, I haven't seen that, when somebody asks me if I've seen a movie. I never want to say that again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's some that I can live without, but I don't know. As far as like the stuff that you and I are interested in, I mean, we're on the same page a lot, and it's usually it's usually beneficial to have seen whatever, uh, like especially stuff we talk about on this show. Like for instance, later on we're going to be bringing up Master and Commander from 2003, and it's like, yeah, I mean, like I had seen it when I was younger, and I was like, dude, Connor, like you've got to see this movie. And you were like waiting for the opportune time, and the time came, and you watched it, and you texted me like, yeah, dude, this is sick. Like I knew, I just kind of knew. Like sometimes you just know you're going to be on the same page, and like I can't wait to talk about that movie later, because I do think it's one of the best movies from 2003. And like that kind of stuff happens a lot, where it is beneficial to do the little extra research and watching for this show.
Yeah, content, as Johnny Knoxville would say. It's content.
Yeah, yeah, it's content. Speaking of content, let's give some awards out to Curse of the Black Pearl, dude. This is gonna be cool. I I say this all the time. No, not every episode, but I'd say about 70% of them. I'm like, damn, this is hard. With the awards. But Curse of the Black Pearl, because I'd seen it so many times and seen it from such a young age. A lot of the movies we do, I saw an adult, or I'd seen for the first time for the show. With Black Pearl, I'm taking into account 20 years of my life. I'm taking into account a huge chunk of my life, and I'm having to come to terms with like what are my favorite aspects of the movie. I've never thought about it that way. I've always just enjoyed it and had fun with it and just been along for the ride. But picking a favorite quote and music moment and performance, Jesus, and a favorite scene, like I was like, this might change in 2 hours, you know. That's kind of how it went for me. As the movie went along, I just took notes and I was like, yeah, I like that, I like that, I like that. And I was like, damn, I've written down 40 different things. How am I going to narrow it down? And I just had to make a decision. So my awards are not really lock, stock, and barrel, man. They're more how I was feeling in the moment.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. This was constantly the only thing that didn't change for me was performance. I've always known who that was going to be, but
Okay.
everything else was kind of just fluctuating. And I took stuff out, I put stuff in, I wrote question marks, and I'm like, yeah, okay, this is what I got for now. We do this a year from now, it's a different list.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. I'm in that exact same boat. So we do have the Tarantino for best quote. We have the Ennio Morricone for best music moment, the Philip Seymour Hoffman Award for best performance, and the Roger Deakins Award for the best scene. So take it away with your Tarantino.
Ah, this is such a good script, such a cool script, so many great character moments in the dialogue. And I went with a bit that is during the final fight, the sword fight between Jack and Barbosa.
Mm.
And Barbosa like leans in and he says, "You're off the edge of the map, mate. Here there be monsters." And then the fight continues, and I'm like, "Fuck, that's a cool thing to hear from a pirate."
Yeah, sick.
I love the whole because that "Here there be monsters" is what they used to write in the uncharted waters of nautical maps. They used to draw big sea serpents and be like, "Here there be monsters. Don't venture into these waters." So bringing that in to this movie is just a little cool piece of nautical history that history buffs like me can be like, ah.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah. When you're a kid, it just sounds like some badass shit, before you kill somebody. but when you're an adult, you're like, oh wow, there's like some real research and nuance to that quote. So that's a great pick. And Jeffrey Rush just delivers so many gold lines in these movies. You better start believing in ghost stories. You're in one. Is like iconic. I've said that so many times. Me and my brother say it a lot. That's another thing is like my Tarantino goes to a quote that me and my brother say to each other all the time. We've thought was so funny from the moment we saw this movie, and we still say it now. We thought it was something different when we were kids. Like we thought the wording was different. It's a quote from Kevin McNally, the guy who plays Mr. Gibbs. The first time we see him, he's in Tortuga, and he's like passed out, and they Sparrow and Turner have to wake him up. And when Sparrow throws the water on him, he screams, "Curse you for breathing, you slack jawed idiot!" When I was a kid, me and my brothers thought he was saying, "Curse you for breathing, you slap John, idiot." I don't know why, but we slapped John. I don't know. I don't know what that was. I don't. When you're a kid, you just like hear things and you're like, sure, but it's slack jawed, idiot. So as I got older, I was like, oh, it's even funnier, because it makes more sense. Slap John, idiot is, these things happen when you're a child. But that's like part of why I chose it for my Tarantino is like I've had like a real life with that quote. While it's not anything anybody else really is like remembers from the movie necessarily, unless you're a big fan, it's not one of like the tentpole quotes. Like Sparrow has so many one-liners that are like, oh, people love those, but I've always been attached to that. The first time we see Gibbs, and that's when the movie really starts to take a nice turn.
One thing I love about these movies, because it's PG-13, because it's Disney, they have to get so creative with the insults. Like, so you get random lines like that, like "curse you for breathing, you slack-jawed idiot." That's such a great thing to say.
Yeah.
Like at one point, Gibbs says like, "Oh, slap me thrice and hand me to me mama." Like just the crazy shit this dude says.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he says like "holy mother and father." Jack, what's after us? Like he says these different things that like, yeah, really any normal pirate would just be like, what the fuck is going on? Like that's,
Yeah.
but they can't do that. So I agree with you. I think it challenges the writers and causes them to kind of do their research and find different quotes that kind of make sense for the time period. In this case, like the 1700s. So it's cool.
Yeah. One of my favorite lines is from Jack. It's when we first meet Jack and he's like conning his way onto the military dock. And those two slack-jawed idiots stop him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're like, this dock is off limits to civilians. And Jack's like, beg your pardon, I didn't know. If I see any, I shall inform you immediately. And then keeps walking.
Yeah.
I fucking love it.
Yeah, I love those two guys when he's like, what you doing in Port Royal, Mr. Smith? you know? Oh, it's so good. I love his intro, Jack Sparrow, when he's like, how about 3 shillings? And we forget the name, It's such a good, with the harbor master, that's like such a good little line to kind of get introduced to his character. And then he steals the money right after, and you're like, okay, this is the kind of guy he is.
Well, we meet him as his ship is sinking onto the dock. I love that. He just walks right onto the dock and the ship sinks immediately. It's perfect. It tells you everything you need to know about this guy right there. He's a pirate, but he sucks at it.
Yeah. You're about the worst pirate I've ever heard of. But you have heard of me. Yeah. That whole bit is so good, when he first goes to Port Royal and then it's like immediately like, oh, I gotta find a ship and this will be the day. You always remember you almost caught Captain Jack Sparrow. Oh, it's just brilliant.
I love there's an exchange he has with Norrington when he's getting arrested after he saves Elizabeth. And Elizabeth's trying to like talk him out of arresting Jack. And Norrington says something like, one good deed does not excuse a man for a lifetime of misdeeds. And Jack goes, no, it does seem enough to condemn him.
Yeah. Yeah. So good.
That's clever.
But you have heard of me. Yeah, it's just brilliant. I love when he's like fighting with Will Turner and he pulls the gun. You cheated, pirate. It's just like, it's just good, clean fun. Oh yeah, this movie's got a lot of great lines. The quote he uses when he reveals that he's turning on Barbossa when it's like a double twist is so good. And he's like, I'm dishonest, and a dishonest man you can always trust to be dishonest. Honestly, it's the honest ones you want to watch out for because you can never predict when they're going to do something incredibly stupid. It's so awesome.
I was just about to bring that up. That was what I had written down till they hear the Be Monsters line. Because it's just such a great character insight into Jack. Like you can always trust him to cheat you on something.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Brilliant stuff, and why anybody ever really, really trusts him is their fault.
Yeah, he's 10 steps ahead of literally everybody, including, gods and monsters alike. It's awesome throughout this whole franchise. He always has the upper hand, even when you think he doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's like, his awareness of just the seven seas is just incredible.
Well,
Yeah, he's the man.
somebody pointed out that Jack only ever walks normally on a boat. Whenever he's on land, he's always like squiggly and walking kind of drunk because he has only sea legs. Like he can't exist on land because he belongs on the sea.
Yeah, I love
He's not
that. I love
comfortable.
that bit. Yeah, I love that the like classic Johnny Depp walk. Like he does in Fear and Loathing a lot as Hunter S. Thompson, or basically Hunter S. Thompson. He's like walking around like he's a creature of some sort. Like that's Johnny. That's one of his signatures. It's like he does that kind of weird, those weird movements. That's part of his physicality.
Well, and that was all his idea. Like Disney nearly fired him for going off script with the character, but Gore Verbinski was like, "Let's see where this goes," and it ended up being one of the most iconic movie characters of all time. It was all Depp's idea. Like he based that walk off. He based all of it off of Keith Richards for the most part, and then he gets to play his dad in part three. It's like, come on.
Yeah, Keith Richards popping up in part three is so cool. Well, yeah, and I mean, yeah, he has like the whole get up, the outfit, the red bandana, the hat. He's like the layers of clothing. I mean, he does look like a Rolling Stones member from the 1970s. It's just badass. It's like, man, it's awesome. And I definitely dressed as him. I don't know if it was for Halloween or if it was just for fun, but at one point, like I had a Jack Sparrow costume, and I thought it was so cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I should never do that again, though. So it was a grown man. I can't wait to show these to my daughter when she gets just a little bit older. She's not gonna know what the fuck's going on right now, but once she's like 7, 8, 9, I'm definitely gonna be like, hey, are you interested in watching these pirates, a pirate movie, and see if she likes it. Like I can't wait for moments like that with movies like this.
Yeah, for sure, man. I bet it's going to be a rewarding experience.
Yes, can't wait, man. What's your Ennio Morricone, your best music moment?
This was tough. This is such a great score.
Christ.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people like don't realize it's not even Hans Zimmer in the first one. It's Klaus Badell. But
And dare I say, Klaus totally doing his thing. He's. I mean, I love Hans. He's one of the goats. But this first movie, it sets the bar for the rest of the movies in the score.
I love it. I do love Dead Man's Chest score the most because of the Davy Jones theme and the Kraken theme.
Kraken. Yeah, I listen to that all the time.
Dead Man's Chest it's in Hans Zimmer's top 5. Like it is a fucking epic score. But this one's good too.
I love this one.
It's awesome. I couldn't find well, let's be honest. I didn't look at the names of this music. I just went with a scene. I wrote down here, Gents Take a Walk. And it's when the pirates go down into the ocean, the ghost pirates walking on the ocean floor to the Dauntless to go fuck shit up. The music that's playing in there is kind of like the ghost pirate theme. And I love that.
Yeah, it's yeah. I'll be talking about that bit later. I'm obsessed with that part. I know exactly what you're talking about. I was listening to it today, like before I went to work earlier today. When I was showering, I was listening to the score. And I got kind of lost, and then on the way to work, I was listening to it. On the way home from work, I was listening to it. And then when I got home, I took another shower because it was a little rowdy today because the Super Bowl's, Super Bowl's. Yeah, today, if you're listening, it's Super Bowl Sunday. We don't care too much here on Oscar Sunday.
The birds.
Yeah, I'll be watching when I can. I do like football. I'm not crazy about it, but I do like it. I kind of also want the Eagles to win just because of my It's Always Sunny fandom, but also I know your family's from Philly, so that'd be cool.
Oh my God, we've got the entire Philly clan at the house this weekend for the game, and they've got fucking Eagles shit all over the house. Like, it's a big deal.
Yeah, I can imagine. So as I was taking my second shower of the day when I got home from work, I finished off the score. So I listened to the whole thing in 4 different segments of my day, which was great. And I kept going back to kind of my favorite kind of subtle piece of scores called Fogbound. And that the first time it plays a couple times throughout the movie. The first time it plays is when Jack and Will finally team up earlier on in the movie, and they get under the little boat. They get under it and go underwater. and it's the dun, 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 kind of, but it's like light and just strings, and
Yeah.
you're like,
It's the
oh,
little like
this,
Jack
yeah,
Sparrow kind of becomes Jack
yeah,
Sparrow's theme over the course of the franchise.
yeah. Whenever he's up to no good,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun. Yeah, it's just man, it's so good. It's so much fun. And the song changes like at different times in the score if you listen to it like on Spotify or Apple or whatever. Like that particular little tune plays on different parts of the score that are named something different because something different is happening. So at one point, like that, dun, 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 but then it breaks into like something dark. And then other times it breaks into something even lighter, like bum, 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 bum. It's so cool. Like I love that. I love that about the score that it kind of overlaps itself because it's leaning on those themes, but it always kind of diverts into something different. And I think that's really powerful. That you always know when you hear that you're kind of coming back to, all right, we're with Jack. We're gonna see what he's getting up to. So cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good shout. I love that. I love how bouncy that kind of gets throughout the franchise. I nearly went with a bit that was like pure horror, and it's when Elizabeth realizes, oh shit, they're all ghosts, and they like kind of bounce her
Dun,
around.
dun, 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 dun.
That's fucking creepy.
Yeah. Oh, it's so sick. Yeah. Yeah. I love that bit. You're like seeing all of them. Like you can tell which one's which, of the pirates, they're on the ship, like they're scrubbing the deck. That's a powerful, powerful piece of score. Bum, 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 bum. That's kind of like Hans Zimmer was like, okay, hold my beer, I'll do that, but I'll do it better.
I actually remembered that scene actually being a little bit more effective in On Stranger Tides. That's the music that plays when we meet Blackbeard.
Mm,
And I was
nice.
like, I remember that bit. I remember that bit of music. It's called Mutiny in that one.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, I love the music cues have just like, they've been consistent throughout the franchise and just been kind of built upon to make this, just constantly evolving, awesome franchise score. Even in the shit movies, the score is still great.
Yeah. You know what else is like so cool about, because there's so many amazing sounds happening. Like whenever he goes to the blacksmith, like where Will Turner works, and like the dun, 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 dun is playing, but it's also you can also hear like the donkey moving, and you can hear like the different like gears, like because it's all wood, and so you can like hear it moving. It's like, man. And then it reminded me of when you and I when we went to the Academy Museum and we saw the whole sound thing. Well, I just went to LA again and went to the same museum, and they had the same thing playing for the sound room, the Indiana Jones, showing all the different ways you make sound. And I watched, I sat there again through the whole thing because I was like, this is just so cool. And I wanted to show Brianna. I was like, this is awesome. Like, this is one of the cool things that like I kind of knew about, before, but I really like when you really get to see it, you get to see just kind of the simplicity, also complexity of like what goes into what we hear is just so fucking cool and so rewarding as a viewer. And I feel like in Pirates, it happens a ton in these movies. What like one thing that I almost chose was the classic theme, the like like when it's real loud and big, and when Jack first walks onto the dock, like we were talking about when he walks off his boat, it goes from like hit the boot when it first hits like the wood, the music kind of stops and like slows down and like hits like the brake pedal, and you're like, damn, that was cool, like it's like his boot was like, all right, we're on land now, here we go, we're about to find out what he's all about. And I'm like, man, that's, I don't know, as like easy as that may seem, I just feel like it's a lot harder to pull off because more movies would pull it off if they could.
Yeah, especially on these, $100 million productions. You definitely have more access to those noises to make like the best noises. Like Caleb and I were talking, apparently the new Indiana Jones movie has upwards of like a $250 million budget.
Good.
Yeah. So like I hope it sounds good.
Yeah, me too. I hope everything's hitting on all cylinders because that's what the money's for, right? Is when you make it, you use all that money, it better be damn good, better work.
Yeah, and the Pirates films definitely have a unique sound. I love a unique sound. Speaking of Indiana Jones, again, like that film has a very distinct fully sound to it, like especially like the punches and all that, the gun noises. You can hear that and immediately think, oh, that's Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And Pirates, I think, has that to an extent, especially for people like us who've seen it a fuck ton of times. You know, the cannon noises and just the way the ship moves. You can feel that.
Yeah, the creaking, the creakiness of when like someone's walking on the deck and it's quiet, and you can hear the ocean. It's so cool, and it's like it gets better and better. Like in Dead Man's Chest, because of the Kraken. I mean, you're bringing a whole different thing into this, you know.
The sound of the Kraken's suction cups, like
Yeah,
rubbing against the cannon, freaked me out this time. I was like, ugh, I got chills.
dude.
God.
When you see those the first time with the two Turkish guys when they're like, oh, blah, blah, you know, there's no subtitles or anything. They're just and the Kraken just sucks it down. The noise that just like a fucking whole body is just crumbling, just breaking, like every bone just pops, like breaks it and sucks it into the depths of the ocean. It's so cool.
I love all the random popping noises that Davy Jones' face makes. Like he's constantly like taking in water and just kind of like just feel that occasionally. I always
God, these movies are so fun. This is great. Yeah, I'm trying to think of more stuff. Like I don't know. I mean, I would love to watch a video about the sound of these movies. You know, I'm definitely gonna try to look up stuff when we're done here. I should have done it before, but I'm gonna watch some YouTube videos about the sound of pirates.
One that I really love is when Elizabeth falls into the ocean and the gold coin like does that pulse across the ocean. It's just like a soft, like a subwoofer. And like that's such a neat noise. And then that same noise is when Jones calls the Kraken in part 2, you know, slams into the ocean, that button thing, and it's just like boom. There's a vibration across the whole fucking ocean. I love that noise.
Yeah, it's just like it's time to wreck shit. Yeah, here we go. It's so cool. Oh man, I couldn't be a pirate. I couldn't hang.
Just the smell, I couldn't do it. Everything looks like it smells so fucking horrible in these movies.
Yeah, the no showering. Like, yeah, I couldn't, you know, the lack of like knowing what you're gonna eat. Like when Bootstrap Bill just eats that snail, I'm like, I can't do that.
Well, I love when Jack just takes the crusty barnacle bottle out of Bill's hand and then takes a swig. I wouldn't drink that shit.
Oh, hell no. Who knows how long that's been in that guy's hand? Yeah. Bootstrap's one of my favorite, you know, kind of heat check performances in the second one. I remember it being later in the movie when we see Bootstrap, but they're like, bang, Bootstrap he's here. You know, that's Will's dad. You're like, there's that's the reveal.
Well, I wonder how much of that, like how much of 2 and 3 was planned when they made part 1. Was it like, did they have a concept, or like, because it ties together so perfectly, but there's no plot holes in these first 3.
Yeah, no, I read about that they basically wrote all of the movies and then they filmed the first one and they're like, all right, that worked. And then 2 and 3 were filmed literally back to back. Like they did it all in one swing. That's why they were able to release them like a year apart. Kind of like they did with Lord of the Rings. You know, they just filmed them all, just knocked them out. A lot of the Harry Potter movies were just like bang, bang, just knock them out. You know, I love that. That would be so cool to be a part of. You're like, look at this huge epic thing we're doing, and we get to just get it done right here.
I was assuming the first one was like, you know, a fluke. Like they made it and then they were like, oh, hey, that worked. All right, let's build another one. But the fact they had scripts laid out, they're like, we got a franchise plan if this works. I love that. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it's like they did the actual world building and then tried it, and they're like, oh, okay, now we can use the material. Because I mean, if anything, if it wouldn't have worked, if the first movie, like, you know, was a bomb, you still have a pretty sick story that you can sell to somebody, you know. And like that would be worth it enough. And just to write that must have been a blast. I mean, that's, you know, 3 guys are credited for writing the story and the screenplay for the first 3 movies, and I mean, that must have been a fun little group to be a part of.
Yeah, I think that the only thing that made it out of the ride was the "Yo ho, yo ho, a pirate's life for me" song.
Yeah,
which is hilarious. And I'm trying very hard not to say too much about my favorite moments of Dead Man's Chest, because I know we are going to do it on this show one day. so I don't want to spoil too much, but it is hard to not
Yeah,
talk about.
yeah, it's hard to not just go there because they fit so well together. I don't know. I mean, I'm down to do it whenever. It would be cool to wait till 2026 to do that for a 20-year anniversary, 2027 for the third one, like giving them all kind of a 20-year anniversary. But I'd be down to do it next month. You know what I mean. So I don't know. I mean, these movies are great. Let's see. We just did our Inyos. PSH. You said you kind of have known this the whole time. Who is it?
Yeah, this has been a no-brainer for me ever since I first saw this movie. This goes 100% to Jeffrey Rush.
Whoa, me too. Okay.
Barbossa. Holy
I,
shit. One of my favorite like villain turned heroes in ever, like in film. I mean, his arc in these first three movies is fucking gorgeous.
yeah, fuck yeah. Okay, I thought you were hinting at Depp the whole time. I was like, oh damn, we're gonna go Depp and Rush, but no, yeah, it's Rush by a landslide for me. I absolutely love Barbossa. I mean, fantastic character, fantastic delivery from Jeffrey Rush. It was the first time I had ever heard of the guy. I didn't know that he was like a proper actor. And I love when proper actors do stuff like this. They can put themselves down on the ground and play a character that a lot of people are going to see and get exposure without phoning it in. He doesn't phone it in ever. He's always locked in this character, and God, I've always respected it so much. It's the perfect casting for Barbossa.
Yeah, Jeffrey Rush wins an Oscar in 96 and then just starts playing, outlandish, one of a kind characters. To me, like my introduction to him was Mystery Men. He will always be Casanova Frankenstein first.
Dude, yeah, what a movie.
But Barbossa, well, I love that our first little hint at Barbossa is the two idiots running the dock who were like, so you've seen a ship with black sails that's captained by the damned or crewed by the damned and captained by a man so evil that hell itself spat him back out. And you're like, who's this guy? And then we meet him and he's this, fairly reasonable, if not frightening, captain who, kind of, I love the way he verbally spars with Elizabeth over the code.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of big words in there. We're not but humble pirates, and then proceeds to school her verbally. I love that. Just
yeah,
not revealing his whole hand, but letting her know that he's smarter than he looks.
Yeah, it's more of guidelines. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and I love that he doesn't just maroon Sparrow, but also her because they never clarify in the deal. And so he's like, I found a loophole around so off to the island you go.
Like a pirate lawyer.
Yeah. God, yeah, he's fantastic. Yeah, I love that guy. He's why I went and saw The King's Speech back in 2010 in theaters. I was like, it's Captain Barbossa. Come on.
Yeah, me too. I I love his instant beef with Sparrow. Like the second they see each other, it's pure hatred. And that kind of stays there throughout the whole franchise. I love it. It turns into more of a friend, like an unfriendly rivalry. But he's the man who, mutinied and took his ship and marooned him on an island, and he's keeping that one shot that he gave him for suicide. I love it. He's like, I'm going to kill Barbossa with that shot, and he keeps that throughout the whole movie. I fucking love
that. Yeah, that's one of the best kind of little plot lines of the entire stories is that, and tell me why that was never the angle to make a movie about them two and their earlier days. Like what? Because I think they say it's 10 years prior is when all of that stuff went down. Like they took the Black Pearl was Sparrow's, and then there was the mutiny, and they like overthrew him and cast him onto the island. And his journey back to all of that was 10 years. Can we see that? Can I watch like a little bit younger Jeffrey Rush and a little bit younger, a little bit younger Barbossa, a little bit younger Sparrow, like going toe to toe on the Black Pearl, like to see who's going to be captain? Like I'd love to check that out.
Oh, I'd love that story. I'd love the story of how Jack got the pearl from Davy Jones and then became, captain and found Barbossa and Gibbs and Bootstrap. Like, I want that story. That would be awesome.
Yeah, yeah, man, me too. It'd be cool to have a movie where you could see Bootstrap trying to stand up for him, but like it doesn't work. Like, that'd be so sick.
Yeah.
uh,
My favorite thing about Barbossa in this movie is the wave of desperation that's over him. Like, all he wants is to be able to feel again. Like, it's not even about like I'm gonna rule the ocean. It's just like, give me a life again. That's all he wants.
no, yeah, it's a very real, like they're like, oh, we've had a taste of immortality for a while, and it's actually not. It's not cool. Like, I want to be human again. I want to die. I want the shackles to be off of me of this life, of this part of life. It's I don't know. That's like really cool angle to take with the first movies. It's like you said, it's not I'm gonna be the ruler of everything. It's more so just like I want to go back to where I was before.
Well, I love when he's watching Elizabeth eat and he's just trying to be like, oh, I remember that. I remember what that felt like. Just watching her, eat. And I also love the relationship between the two of them, how she kind of becomes like she learns how to be a pirate from Barbossa over the course of these movies. Like, it's a masterclass in how to fuck people over. And she starts using those underhanded techniques and manipulating the code in 2 and 3. And it's just, my favorite moment of the franchise, hands down, is the end of Dead Man's Chest when Barbossa walks down those stairs and you're like, oh shit, he's alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Part 3 is going to rock.
Yeah, and you're like, oh my god, how long do we have to wait? Only a year. Let's go. Yeah, sick. Yeah, man, Keira Knightley, she was 18 when this movie came out. Black Pearl. It's crazy. She was born in 85. Like, holy hell.
Yeah, she's holding her own against everybody in this movie. She makes the character her own. I respect that.
Yeah, me too, man. She's great. There's really no weak link to me. Like everybody, even like subtle characters, side characters, everyone's awesome. Commodore Norrington, as much of a douchebag he is great.
Jack Davenport does not get enough credit for Norrington. His arc in these 3 movies is great. Just
yeah,
riches to rags to riches for the wrong reasons. I love it.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. I love that first time we see him again. Post, everything that's happened in the first movie, and you're like, oh my god, that's fucking Norrington, Commodore. Oh man, so good. These movies are great. So we both have Jeffrey Rush. That's incredible. I love that as Barbossa for the PSH. What's your Deacons?
Oh, I already brought it up. It's when Elizabeth realizes, oh, these pirates actually are cursed, and she gets bounced around the Pearl, and we learn the full extent of what these guys are. And then, Jeffrey Rush walking into the moonlight and, you best start believing in ghost stories. It's like, it's
and
so
fucking chews off the cork and blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
I love his like creepy ass laugh he does. Get back to work.
Yeah. What are you laughing at? It's so ridiculous, but so fucking good, man. Oh yeah. I can't take anything away from that bit. I have something similar. Just later in the movie, it's when they go underwater and they're about to attack the Dauntless. I mean, it's just stuck with me for so long. Just so creepy and scary when I was a kid. I was like, I don't know if I want to be watching this, and just the footsteps on the bottom of the ocean, these skeletons, like boom, and it still looks pretty good now. Like, doesn't look like amazing the time it did, but it still holds up and looks good 20 years later. The same way that like Jurassic Park looks good now, 30 years later. Looks good, looks solid. And I'm obsessed with that scene when they start going up the rope to get on the boat. And then you're going from that, like you're panning from that to a sword fight between Barbossa and Sparrow. Like, so sick. It's such a fucking cool back and forth. So that whole 10-minute stretch is my favorite bit of the movie.
I remember on one of my VHS tapes, it had to have been around 2002. I think it might have been The Emperor's New Groove or something. But that scene alone, or at least parts of it, of them walking under the ocean, was the teaser for Pirates of the Caribbean. that was it. It was like ghost feet walking on the sand
Yeah.
beneath the waves, and it was like Pirates of the Caribbean coming soon. And I remember thinking like, oh, that looks creepy. Cool.
Yeah, so fucking sick, dude. I'm just obsessed with that stretch of the movie. I mean, I love the first time when they go to Port Royal and you realize who they are, and you're like, oh, geez. I love when Elizabeth Swann notices. Um, I mean, I don't know. I love the bit when Elizabeth and Jack are on the island together and they're dancing. Like it's just like a fun little, I love this song. It's I don't know. There's just so many. There's not really a dull moment for me. It's like a 2.5 hour movie, and I'm having fun the whole time.
She burns all the rum, and he gets super pissed, and he's like walking
Yeah.
away. He's like, "Must have been hard for you, Jack." Well, it bloody is now. So pissed.
Yeah, he
I
just
love
yeah. At heart, he's an alcoholic. Like that's what he really wants to be doing is just drinking all the time. But he also has this kind of just thirst for adrenaline and this awareness of like all the mistakes and consequences that he has to face. So, God, what a great character! What a great movie.
Yeah. A scene I almost wrote down. I love the sword fight between Jack and Barbossa at the end, but when Barbossa kills Jack, and then Jack wanders back to the moonlight, and it's like, oh shit, he stole one of those coins, and now he's a skeleton, and he's doing that like cool coin thing with his knuckles.
Yeah,
Couldn't resist, mate.
and he's like, that's very interesting.
I
Yeah.
love when Barbossa's like, "What is? Are we going to do this forever? You know, two immortals locked in eternal combat." And Jack's like, "Or you could surrender."
Yeah,
Just
yeah, I love
that
that.
corny shit. Ah, so good.
Yeah, man. God, this movie rules. It's a 9 out of 10 for me. It's not quite like a all time favorite of mine, but it's definitely something I think of a lot and remember very fondly.
I'm with you. Yeah, it's a 9. It's fun and it's exciting. All three of the first three are 9s, all of them for me.
Okay.
I love these to death.
Yeah, it's a 9, 9, and 8. The third one like drops a bit for me just because like oh man, the first two are just how can you live up to them? But I do enjoy the third one a lot. It's a lot of fun. I think it lacks. I don't know. There's something that I feel like it lacks. I'll probably find that out now when I watch it
Yeah.
because I haven't seen it in a few years. So um, now that I'm watching these more with a more kind of strict like eye as far as my own perspective and just kind of what I'm trying to figure out about when I rewatch movies that it is for enjoyment, but I'm also trying to figure out exactly like, put my finger on that thing,
Yeah.
like have it on the pulse. So I'm excited to watch the third one probably tomorrow night. I'll probably do that.
You could admittedly shave a good 20, 30 minutes off of the third movie. There's so many, double, triple, quadruple crosses where it's like, oh, this guy's really in bed with this guy, and that guy's working for himself, and that guy's with that guy. It's like they could have cut that down a bit. I'll give it that. And they do introduce quite a lot of, the pirate court and Calypso and all that, and they've got a lot to wrap up. I think they did it pretty well, but I totally get why people are like, this is too much.
It's long. Yeah, I remember it being just long. Like this, the first movie is like 2 hours and like 15 to 20 minutes. There's a lot of the credits are like 12 minutes long because you got a lot of people working on it, and the second one's a little longer, and the third one's a little longer. So it's like you keep kind of making that step. But yeah, damn good movie, man. And we got some categories to go through here before we go. This has been a blast. First one we'll start with is best visual effects, which is just a absolutely stacked category. These three movies deserve this kind of recognition. It's very rare that it feels like a perfect category. You have three movies, and all three of them are like for me, absolute must sees, lights out kind of stuff, especially from the visual effect front. So the winner was Return of the King because the Return of the King was up for 11 Oscars and won all 11 of them. Fucking made history. Fucking thrashed the competition, rightfully so. It beat Master and Commander, The Far Side of the World, and Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. So this is a great category. I'm sticking with Return of the King. I think it deserves the win. I think Pirates of the Caribbean looks great. Master Commander looks great. Well, Lord of the Rings is doing so much, and it had to. It's not the first movie; it's the third movie. It had to deliver on all those fronts, and it did, man. It really delivered, and still lives up. 20 years on, movie looks awesome.
Well, first off, I love that we have a category with the 3 films with the longest titles of the year. We're all
Yeah,
up against each other.
all have semicolons. Yeah,
Yeah, I love that. And it's two pirate movies versus Middle Earth. Love that too.
Fucking
Yeah.
fantastic.
Once again, I was able to watch all the competition. So every film Pirates was up against, I have seen,
There you go.
which is always a delight. But yeah, Return of the King is losing to nobody. That movie is perfection. It delivers on, a trilogy. It delivers on a novel adaptation. It's a fun fucking movie and it looks incredible. So yeah, good luck tackling that. Yeah, no.
Tackling that beast. Yeah, it's not happening, as we saw. It destroyed the competition. Like no movies don't do that anymore.
No.
When a film is up for double digit nominations, it usually wins like 3, maybe 4. With Lord of the Rings, it just swept the competition, just destroyed, and probably could have won more. Like it left stuff on the table as far as stuff that it wasn't nominated for. So not crazy.
That is most likely the last time that will ever happen.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't see how it could. I just don't. Best sound editing. We've got 3 movies again in this category. We're both very familiar with these. Yeah, Master and Commander, The Far Side of the World with the win, beating Finding Nemo and Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. What do you got?
Oh, that's hard. A lot of ocean in this category.
Yeah, lots of ocean. Yeah. you got like the Caribbean, you got fucking Australia, you got they're like around South America a lot in Master Commander. You got all parts of the ocean here.
Man, this is tough. Master and Commander and Pirates are kind of dealing with this, very similar sound design. I think I'd give it to Finding Nemo.
Interesting. Okay, state your case. I like that.
Well, see, with animation, you're building from a foundation of nothing. So I think that the sound design of animated movies is a lot more potent and a lot more expressive.
Mm.
And Finding Nemo, especially, I mean, you've got the jellyfish scene, you've got the sound of the boat, you've got the was the fish tank. You got like so many specific sound moments in Finding Nemo that I think stand out. And there's my case.
Yeah, I'm sold, man. I like that. That's a good way of putting it. Which now with this next category, best sound mixing, Finding Nemo is not even there. So, I just wonder exactly what the protocol is there.
Why does that get 5 and sound editing gets 3? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, and sound mixing. You got Lord of the Rings: Return of the King with the win. The Last Samurai, Master and Commander, Pirates of the Caribbean, and Seabiscuit. So Master and Commander and Pirates of the Caribbean are both in sound editing, but they're also in sound mixing. But Finding Nemo is nowhere to be found in mixing. I wonder what that's all about. I don't know.
The fucking sound categories. Every year, it's always so fucking complicated and doesn't make sense and hard to quantify. Let's just stop it. Stop doing this to me, Oscars, every time.
Yeah, quit it.
Just combine it, give us best sound design, and just go with that. I mean, they kind of have started that, but then they just called it best sound. So like we're right back where we fucking started.
Yeah. Oh God. They make a change, and 10 years from now they're gonna make a new change,
Yeah, best noise. But yeah, I give the win to Return of the King. The sound mixing for like the Nazgul and the dead army and Gollum, like very distinct sound design in Lord of the Rings. So yeah, go ahead, take that one.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that. So how do you feel about The Last Samurai and Seabiscuit just as movies?
I like them. I like the old white savior movie. Reminds me why I'm upset. And Seabiscuit, Seabiscuit's good. Who doesn't love a good optimistic racehorse Great Depression movie?
Me.
Oh.
No, it's fine. It's just, to me, it's like totally fine. I was inspired, but also now as an adult, it's like that was up for best picture. Come on, I don't know. It's Pirates of the Caribbean's better.
Yeah, Finding Nemo is better.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Uh, Last Samurai though, I think is a good watch. I think it gets a bum rap because it's a white guy in a samurai outfit, but I think the movie's more than that. So I do like the Last Samurai.
I do too. My mom loves that movie, and she showed it to me and my brothers when we were a little, probably a little. It wasn't in 2003, but it was, I don't know, around there, right now. It's probably 10, 11, 12. I don't know. And I just remember, oh, this is so intense, like I've never seen anything like this, and so I loved it, like in my middle school years. Then I saw it again later on. I was this is pretty good. It's not amazing, but it's pretty good, and I still feel that way. I think Mr. Cruz is putting in a good performance, and he's working with what he's got, and yeah, it's not the most fun movie to talk about just because of those aspects. But I agree with you. There is more than meets the eye. So decent flick. So yeah, Seabiscuit's just one I'm not like, oh my god, I need to talk about Seabiscuit or I'm gonna fucking lose my mind. It's just where I'm at these days.
That's funny. It's Seabiscuit comes from it's my grandma. She loves these inspirational biopics, and this one's about a horse that gave people hope at a time where they didn't have hope, and
Yeah, yeah.
it's I watch it for sentimental reasons, and personally I don't really give a fuck about horse racing, but I don't really care about baseball either, but I love baseball movies.
Yeah, no, I get you on that. My parents both love Seabiscuit, and they were like, let's sit down and watch this as a family. Like this is like it is that sentimental, like, don't you just feel better about yourself now? It's and that's okay. That's okay. I just don't want those movies in my best picture category.
You can't cut out the Oscar bait at the Oscars. Then we don't have what do we have left.
It's true. It's true. It's true. You can't win them all. Best makeup. We're back to the three big dogs from this year. Lord of the Rings takes the win, beating Master and Commander and Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, interesting.
Best makeup. Yeah.
I mean, when you consider that the entire goddamn orc army is makeup, like all individual actors made up to look differently, that's an incredible achievement of makeup design. So that wins it easily.
That's all I need. Yeah, that's all I need. Right. Parts of the Caribbean, you got some interesting stuff on different characters, including Jack. But like Master Commander, I don't know. I just think Lord of the Rings has this has makeup in spades. Like it rules. Like you said, the whole orc like race was probably so much work and very creative, very very creative, bringing those to life, nailing that aspect of those of that story of those movies was so crucial. Like if the orcs looked dumb, I mean, it would ruin so much of what we're going through. But the fact that they're kind of scary, believable, and look like you said different, like they all have their own identity. I mean, why can't we have some meat? Like you got like the scrawny, squirrely ones, and you got like they are not for eating. Like you have these different, like people basically. It's just brilliant stuff.
Well, in Return of the King, you've got I think his name's Gothmog. They're like albino leader who's got like the bum hand.
Yes,
like just looks like a fucking walking tumor.
Yeah, he's disgusting. Yeah,
and he stands out, and it works. And funny how you mentioned like when the orcs look dumb, it doesn't work because we saw that happen with the Hobbit trilogy.
Yeah, and it like look at those movies. Nobody fucking talks about those ever.
Yeah, when you make them in a computer, it's like instant coffee versus like a French press. Like, come on.
Exactly. It's like modern CGI versus John Carpenter's, The Thing,
Yeah.
It's not cool. Not as cool.
Now, made with love matters, regardless of what you're making.
Yeah, if you buy a cookie that was just frozen, somewhere and someone just threw it in the oven for 20 minutes versus me, taking my time with it, you're gonna enjoy the cookie I gave you more. That's just how it is. I can't make cookies, but
my all-time favorite version of that is SpongeBob when he competes against King Neptune for like the best burger, and Neptune makes like a million of them with this like power of the gods, and SpongeBob's just like on a grill making one patty, and He makes a delicious piece of food, and everyone hates Neptunes because they taste like shit. He didn't care.
Yeah, I love that. I love watching SpongeBob just like slow and steady wins the race, and he like does like the smiley face with the condiments and places the pickles in the right spot. I want that burger. That's the Krabby Patty I want.
I love when he starts reading them a bedtime story.
Yeah, he tucks it in with the lettuce. Yeah. SpongeBob's a great fucking show, dude.
Yeah.
For first few seasons, anyway.
First three are gold. Then it's like then the movie, and then I'm out.
Yeah, especially season one. Like season one has some of the best comedic stuff I've seen like in my entire life. The whole monitor. That stuff is really, really funny. I've always loved that show. But yeah, makeup. We're both on the Return of the King side here. So last category that we'll bring up when it comes to Pirates is Best Actor in a Lead Role. Now, this is kind of what we were alluding to earlier in the episode, just kind of how special it is. So we won't dive into that too much because we already kind of went there. But it's very cool that Johnny Depp is here. He did not win. Mr. Sean Penn won for Mystic River. Great performance. I personally think it's teetering on like the best lead and best supporting in that movie. Like he's not in it a ton, but he's in it. It's like if he's up for Best Actor and he wins, then why wasn't Daniel Kaluuya up for Judas and the Black Messiah? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's one of those things where it's like, all right, I get it, but I don't know. He's not in it a lot. Like there's plenty of screen time without him to where it makes it seem like he's a little more supporting. But I don't know. I think he's great in it. He beat Johnny Depp, Parts of the Caribbean, Ben Kingsley, House of Sand and Fog, Jude Law, Cold Mountain, and Bill Murray, Lost in Translation. This is a fascinating group. Do I think they all deserve to be there? Not quite, but it is a cool group of actors.
Yeah, you're right. For my prep, I watched House of Sand and Fog, Cold Mountain, and Lost in Translation, as well as Master and Commander.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, Cold Mountain can go fuck itself. I'm over that. It's not a good movie, and I'm tired
of
people
slow.
Convince me it is.
Pretty slow, yeah.
Yeah, my God.
If you want to take a nap, throw Cold Mountain on.
Yeah, pretty much. It took me all day to watch that goddamn movie. Lost in Translation.
It's like not that long. I think it's like under 2 hours, but it feels. Oh no, it's 2.5. Okay, that's 2.5. All right.
It's a slog.
Okay, I thought it was like right around 2.5. Yeah,
it is a hike up the mountain without snowshoes, my friend. I will not be doing that again.
No, don't. I don't blame you. And with this cast, what a shame,
This is the only time I've ever not liked a Philip Seymour Hoffman performance. And I hate that this movie did that to me.
Now, see, I like him in it, and I like Brendan Gleeson in it. Everybody else is like fine. I do like PSH in it. It's just unfortunate that he's in the movie.
I don't like his. I feel like the voice. I am a preacher. Like I don't like that. It's fucking obnoxious. I'm like, this is the voice you went with, dude. And he gets caught trying to drown a slave he impregnated because he's like, it's better for everybody, so they don't whip me in the streets. Like, what the fuck is this? Yeah, I did not care for it. I don't know what Jack White's here.
Oh God, no. Yeah, I like Jack White's music. Do not like his acting. Tell you that.
Yeah, Brendan Gleeson and to an extent Renee Zellweger are trying. Everyone else is kind of just like there.
Yeah, which is insane. I mean, all the way down the line: Jude Law, Nicole Kidman, Renee, Brendan Gleeson, PSH, Natalie Portman, Donald Sutherland, Giovanni Ribisi, Ray Winston, Charlie Hunnam, Jack White, Ethan Suplee, Jenna Malone, Melora Walters. Like, holy fuck, that's like a Wes Anderson cast right there. Like, just the talent out the wazoo. Yet this movie's boring. Like, it's really sad.
Truly. So I've seen it now. So that's the end of it.
Yeah. I've seen it once. I saw it maybe 7-8 years ago. Like it was a while back. I remember looking at the cast and I was like, I'm not going to look up what this movie's about. I'm just going to watch it. And I watched it and I was like, okay, when does it start? Hour and a half in, I need to go outside and stretch, like I was just like, it also took me all day to finish it. And like, I remember I called my mom And I was like, have you seen Cold Mountain? My mom's like, yeah, I like that movie. And I was like, watch it again. Because I think she just is obsessed with Nicole Kidman and Renee Zellweger, and those kind of actors. But like, I mean, oh no. And this is Anthony Minghella. I usually like his stuff. This is just not it. This ain't it.
Yeah. I also hate love stories about relationships that are like instantaneous, where people fall in love after knowing each other for like a day and a half. I hate that.
Yeah, yeah, man. It's like West Side Story. It's like, oh, fuck out of here. That ain't love. That's lust. Just call it what it is, dude. Like, they want to bang. That's it. Like,
I left West Side Story out of my thesis because I didn't want to watch it again.
yeah,
It's just like, fuck it. It's not worth it. I'll stretch Touch of Evil. That was a good movie.
There you go. I love that. Yeah, stretch out the good one. Yeah, yeah, man. Oh, I'm glad you watched Cold Mountain, because now it was up for Best Picture, I believe. So now you can just fucking skip it.
Yeah, I've cleared 2003.
There you go. There you go. I anticipate we will do 2003 later on in the year, like maybe towards the fall, winter, towards the end of 2023, just as like it'd be really cool to give out awards to Return of the King and Return of the King only, and talk about all 11 categories again. So I'd love to do that.
Yeah, that'd be a blast. Give me an excuse to rewatch Mystic River, which is, it's been a while since I watched that one.
That is one of my favorite Eastwood movies. Yeah.
Yeah. Lost in Translation, I didn't think I was going to like that much because it doesn't really have a plot. But
yeah,
Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson are pretty damn mesmerizing in it. And it feels like a real relationship and real people. And I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So that was good. Bill Murray was really good. House of Sand and Fog blew me the fuck away.
That's so good to hear. That's the one I haven't seen of all the ones we talked about.
That is one of the darkest movies I have ever seen. An ending that will fuck you up emotionally to a degree I was not prepared for.
Good.
So much so that Ben Kingsley is my pick for Best Actor.
Oh, I love that. Love this. This is great.
Yeah, okay. It consistently like it. At first, you're like, no, Jennifer Connelly's totally in the right. Give her back her house. But then you're like, but she's not going about it the best way. They have you're constantly torn between like, who the hell is in the right here? Where do my loyalties lie? And by the end of it, you're like, oh my God, what have I done? Like, it's such a dude. Oh my God, watch this like soon.
Okay, what's it on?
I watched it on Prime, I believe.
Perfect. I have that. Yeah. Okay.
Confirm that.
Yeah, I've been torn lately. There's a lot of stuff I've been wanting to watch, but then I'm also like in the back of my head, I'm like, I got a lot of shit to get to if I want to fulfill the pact we made for all the Oscar movies. I still probably have like 17 movies to watch. And a lot of them I don't like. Blonde. I don't want to watch Blonde. So I'm like, yeah, I'd rather watch House of Sand and Fog, but like, fuck, man, time.
Sand and Fog is on Paramount Plus as we speak. So that's
I have that too. Okay. All right, good.
Yeah, and a lot of these movies. I feel like we should just meet up one day and just knock a bunch of these out.
Yeah, like watch like 5 in a row, just all in one day.
All the bad ones. We knock out all the long ones.
Yeah. And then there's some that quite frankly are not available right now. And I'm not paying until I have to.
So. Yeah, I'm not dropping $20 for the Fabelmans. I'll watch it. I'm looking forward to watching it, but no streaming service is getting $20 from me. I made that very clear when Disney tried that shit.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that one. I'm waiting for Avatar to be on. I'm not paying for either of those. There's just no way. Feels like $3 maybe, but it ain't. So, I think right now the ones I can watch are RRR, which is on Netflix for Best Original Song. Blonde is on Netflix for Best Actress. Best Cinematography. I don't know, Best Actress?
It's actors, yeah. Ana de Armas got the nom.
Stupid. I watched Empire of Light. That's on HBO Max. I actually kind of liked that one. Some of it was very...
What was that up for, Empire of Light?
Cinematography, Roger Deakins. Yeah.
Of course. Okay.
Yeah. It doesn't matter how bad the movie is. Deakins just puts on a fucking show, and it does look incredible. I actually liked it a lot more. I thought I was going to hate it, just because it got completely bombed, got destroyed critically. But I don't know. There's some aspects where I was like, oh my God, there's something here that like could have completely rocked me. They just take the story a couple ways that I didn't like. But anyway, that's available. There's a few others that I can watch right now, but I mean, To Leslie and Living and Avatar and The Fablemans. Like, there's a lot. There's one of the documentaries that just aren't available right now, so we'll just have to wait. We got about a month, actually exactly a month now. It's February 12th as you're listening to this on Sunday. The Oscars are March 12th. It's crazy, right? So I do want to get to those. I want to fulfill the pact. I want to try my hardest anyway to get there. It's just, man, there's so much other stuff I'm like more interested in my free time, and that includes At World's End, now The House of Sand and Fog, things that I just want to do in my own time. But I hear you, Ben Kingsley. That's cool that you were so swayed by that single viewing. I love when that happens. I don't think anybody. I haven't seen that one, so if I'm taking into account the other 4 performances, I don't think anybody is like blowing me away. So it's like hard to give this one out. But if I had to, it'd be Bill Murray. I think Murray in Lost in Translation is just like straight up charisma, like carrying that movie. And there's so many moments of him just being like harnessing that charisma that we know him to have, and harnessing like the comedic timing. And I don't know, it's just kind of like a understated movie star's performance where it's like, I'm just staring at this guy, and that's super effective and super powerful. And I do like the movie a lot, so I'd go to bat for it any day. Sean Penn's great. Johnny Depp's great. Jude Law, not so much. Love that guy, but sounds like I need to see House of Sand and Fog to see if I'm in the same boat as you with Ben Kingsley.
Well, I also just didn't know Kingsley had it in him. I've never really been all that impressed by Ben Kingsley. I mean, I love Sexy Beast. I thought he's great in that.
Yeah, he is great in that movie.
Yeah, that's fucking nuts. I have not yet seen Gandhi, so I can't judge that.
Yeah, that's his other. Yeah,
that was his big win. But House of Sand and Fog, his character is just so fucking complex, and he's holding back so many different emotions, except like towards the end where it all just floods out, and you're like, "Fuck me, man!" Like, I get it. It's so hard to talk about it without spoiling it, because the moment, you'll know what the moment is, but it's like everything changes, and all of a sudden you're in hell with them, and it's just I didn't know anything about this one going in, and I was floored, and I love when that fucking happens. When I watched the last like 20 minutes with my mouth open, like just nothing else was happening.
Sick. I love that. Love hearing that. That's good news.
Yeah.
Good news, man. Let's see. What else would Pirates be up for you as we close the show out here?
Oh, supporting actor and score by a mile.
Yeah. Supporting actor for Jeffrey Rush. Who do you take out?
I have not seen The Cooler, so I guess that one.
Yeah, and Alec Baldwin. Yeah, tough stuff these days. I ain't taking out the other guys. So yeah, I mean,
I've only seen like half of In America, and that was when I was a young kid, because my mom took a film class when she was at community college, and they would show the films, and you could take your family and watch the movies. And they were showing The Wizard of Oz, and we go there, and they're not showing The Wizard of Oz; they're showing In America. So
weird.
We watched like half of that, and then my mom was like, "This is boring. We're gonna go home." And I was in no position to argue, so I went home. So I don't remember it that well. I remember thinking like, this Irish family is boring, but I was a kid, so I want to give that a full shot.
Yeah, and he's great. So yeah, you want to give it a whirl for yourself. That's funny. Yeah, Last Samurai we talked about. 21 Grams you watched not that long ago.
I did. Yeah, I recently watched that on a whim. I was going through my movies alphabetically. I start with the numbers, and that movie was a trip. It took me a minute to realize it was basically backwards, but
yeah,
great performances and just an unforgiving situation. I like when movies don't give me the Hollywood ending, don't treat me like an idiot, when they show me that actions have fucking consequences. I love that. It puts me in a very real place, and 21 Grams did that by a mile. Oh my god.
Yeah, I like 21 Grams. It's interesting that Benicio, you got traffic at 21 Grams there, in back-to-back years for him. Fascinating.
Yeah, and then nothing.
Yeah,
he had so many, like Sicario. He should have been up for. Like he's had work that should have been recognized
Oh
since.
yeah, I love that guy. Tim Robbins took the win for Mystic River, so you have Tim and Sean Penn winning for actor and supporting actor. Best score, you said. I totally agree. I would even go as far as saying best art direction. I'd give it a shout for that one as well.
Yeah, for Port
You know,
Royal and Tortuga, and yeah,
yeah, just the boat, the ships, like the all that stuff is beautiful. So I think three, two or three more. I would have given it 7 or 8 nominations. That's pretty powerful. And I wish it would have won something. That's upsetting. It didn't win anything, and but 5 nominations is solid. That's a solid haul. It's better than a lot of classic kind of cult movies. That's more than most Paul Thomas Anderson movies. Five nominations. That's more than most David Fincher movies. You know what I mean? Like that's cool.
yeah, that's fun. I wonder if these people like compare Oscar nominations. Like is Gore Verbinski like, yeah, my film got 5. How much did
Yeah.
yours get, Dave?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, Paul Thomas Anderson, your last movie, Punch Drunk Love, 0. Was that what I heard? 0 nominations. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh, that
You
hurts.
know, I doubt it, but it's just fun to think about.
Spike Jones is like handing him an Oscar, like, here, I've got plenty. You want to use that to hold your rejection letter down there?
Yeah. How do you feel about that, bud? Yeah, no, I think it's great. I mean, I think people do care. Like when you get recognized, it's got to feel good. But at the same time, it's clear that Gore Verbinski is like, I'm having fun making these movies.
Well, I'm looking right now at the nominations from that year. Live action short film, fucking William Zabka, the bad guy from
Ah,
Karate Kid, Cobra Kai. He got nominated for live action short. That's kind of
nice.
neat.
That's interesting. Yeah, that is cool. I had no idea.
Yeah, neither did I.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I don't, never
That's
made the
those are the
connection.
categories I have never paid any attention to. The short categories, all three, live action, animated, and doc. I've never looked at them ever, like in any year. I got to start doing that.
Yeah, it's tough. They're hard. They're just hard to get to. They're hard to access. Yeah, you and I think are trying our hardest to knock out all the feature films that are at this year's Oscars, and if we can, that's a big maybe. Get to the short films. We will. Like I have no problem paying whatever $15 at Embassy here in San Antonio to see them back to back to back, like they did last year. I just missed it last year. I will do that. I have no problem with that. I like short films. I'm cool with it. They're just hard to find.
Yeah, and I don't know. I've seen very few short films, like some Chaplin comedies and like whatever Pixar's got that year. Sometimes, so I'm very like I don't have a lot to talk about when it comes to short films.
I've seen a ton just because Criterion does them all the time. I'll just put them on like quite frankly, like if I'm taking a shit, I'll watch a short. I'll watch a short for 5-6 minutes and then all right, time to go. If I have to kill time at say the waiter or the fucking hostess at a restaurant's like, oh, it's gonna be a 10-minute wait. I'm like, cool, I'll throw on a short here on Criterion on my phone and then go to the table. That's like a good little time filler.
It's a glowing endorsement. Short films, watch them
Yeah.
when you're taking shit. I love that.
Yeah, watch them when you need something to do for 5 to 10 minutes, and you never know. Uh, isn't that great? This has been fun, man. It's been a fun episode. As I expected with these, these movies are great. We obviously had to shine some love on the Dead Man's Chest and at World's End, and again, one day we'll do both of those properly. Let's see. This week we've got some interesting stuff on FILMGAZM. It's going to be the New York Ninja. That'll be Josh and Connor doing that. Connor's
No,
shaking his head.
that'll be Josh and Caleb. I'm walking out of that one.
Oh, beautiful. that's hilarious.
Yeah, we originally it was because the film was only released on a special Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray, which Josh made me watch when I was up there. I was hoping I can get out of this, but no, they were like, we're gonna watch New York Ninja, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm watching it too. It wasn't bad. It was just very weird. But it is now available to stream on several different services, which is kind of funny. So it kind of defeats the purpose of them having to do it. but I'm gonna make him do it anyway and sit this one out.
No, there you go. Yeah, I mean, nothing wrong with that. Get a good old filmgasm with Caleb and Josh. So that'll give you the Wednesday off, and then Friday, Beyond the Bad, The Zodiac Killer. Never seen it.
Yeah, this is kind of outrageous. This was made in 1971 in the middle of the Zodiac killer's spree. Like he was active, and they're like, they made a slasher film about the Zodiac killer, and people were like, "What the fuck? Why would you do that? This is so insensitive." And the film got kind of buried. So now it is available to stream on Tubi, and apparently it is that bad. So we're gonna go ahead and rip that apart.
God, yeah, I almost don't want to see it just because I don't want to, go down that road. There is a movie that I can watch, that is good that's out there.
I don't think this will hurt your love of Zodiac, but I do think that I'm curious to see like what was so horrible in 1971 that people were like, oh my god. I bet it's just the fact that it existed at all, that in the middle of a killer spree, they're like, let's make a movie about the guy, and he's a creepy bad guy. It's like this guy's real.
Interesting, yeah. God, that'll be fun though, because it's always fun to just bring that whole like realm of thought, up with the Zodiac killer, and the kind of media surrounding it is always fascinating. So that'll be good. And then next week on this show, we're going to be having a lot of fun. Going back to 1999, because when in doubt, that's what you do. You go to 1999, and honestly, at this point, we might as well just knock them all out. We might as well knock out every 1999 movie that was nominated. This time, though, it really is one of the best films of that year, whether it's Oscar related or just straight up movies in general. That's The Matrix. So that'll be a blast. We did it on Filmgasm a long time ago, and Connor and I have always made a pact. Like, all right, we're gonna redo it. We're gonna redo it proper. It was not as good of an episode as it should be for a movie that we both have as a 10, like straight up. So this is a 5-star, 10 out of 10 movie for both of us. We need to bring the heat. We're going to next week.
Yeah, it was a bonus, and we just half-assed the bonus. We just wanted to keep talking about shit.
Was The Cell the episode? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's what we did.
I like The Cell.
I kind of liked The Cell. I wanted to like it more, but it's up for best makeup. We could do that too.
I liked it so much because of Vincent D'Onofrio. He's just so cool in that movie. That's what I remember about it.
Yeah, he's pretty badass. But yeah, The Matrix deserves its time in the spotlight. It deserves a proper conversation, a structured conversation, and we're gonna finally do that.
Yeah, I'm stoked, man. It's gonna be fun. In the meantime, follow Connor95 on Letterboxd. You can follow me. Just search Austin Johnson. Good luck finding, because there's a lot of us. But I should probably get like a better username that's more specific. Oh well. Or you can find Connor and then find me on the people that he follows. It's a lot of fun. We both are always kind of logging the movies that we watch on there and putting up reviews and whatnot. Check out the website, filmgasm.com. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Filmgasm. Keep watching movies, and we'll see you guys on Wednesday.